Hey, what's up? It's Kit. Time for another video. Today, we talk about jigs and assist hooks for light jigging. If you're new to this channel talks about the hows and whys of fishing. We cover everything from big game, ultralight, everything in the middle, including fly fishing. Today, we are talking about assist hooks and jigs for light jigging. This is part of the Light Jigging 101 series of videos. And if you want to check out the playlist, it's in the description below. Now, the reason why I'm doing this and lumping these two things together instead of actually making like a separate assist hooks video and then after that the jigs, it's because now I've mentioned before that this has the most diverse set of jigs that you will ever find in any segment of jigging. With that comes the assist hooks. Okay, so a lot of the assist hooks that I'm going to be showing you today, what's in this box, literally fits a lot of jigs. And I've found that when it comes to custom assist hooks for these jigs in this segment, it's on a case-to-case basis, I would say, because there's very little jigs that you will find that will not have kind of like a ready-made assist hooks that would fit it. Very, very little. Example would be probably the Cutlass, but even then, you can find these ready rigged. Okay, so if you lose that, rigging, which is kind of impossible because for this particular one, it's actually wire. So if you lose that assist hook, more than likely you'll actually be losing the jig. But let's just say you have one, it doesn't have hooks. Yeah, you're gonna have to go out of your way and make one. The good thing is that you only need a single hook for this one. Okay, so as far as that is concerned, a lot of the hooks that are available in the market would fit about 95% of the jigs that are out there, I would say. Okay, I'll show you another example that's actually kind of hard to pair off with an assist hook. Okay, anyway, so if you look at this box, this is my assist hook box for light jigging and micro jigging, and except for these two right here, okay, these are the only two that are not production assist hooks. So this compartment, these right here, those are all production assist hooks, and they can be used for literally a lot of jigs that I'm about to show you. Okay, later. Okay, now things to look for if you want to make your own assist hooks. Let's tackle that first. I always recommend, if you can, finding these covered with PTFE. PTFE is Teflon. Okay, now these are JF41s, I believe, from Owner. I will have an example here. JF42. Okay, there we go. And there are JF41s, which are smaller, I believe. Yeah, so it's still the same, PTFE coated, but these are kind of lighter wire than the JF42s. And for owners, if it says Magic Fuso, that's the one with the PTFE coating. Okay, so actually really, really good hooks. Now, when you're making your own, I would recommend that, but I have to say they're actually very dangerous. The Teflon makes it so that when it penetrates really fast, and you don't even feel the hook going into your finger until later on. You just go like, oh my god. Now, the benefit, the clear benefit of that, obviously, is when you're fishing. What happens is that when the fish grabs it, immediately, boom, it goes in. Unlike other types of hooks like these that are not coated, so it takes a bit of force. So as far as these covered hooks are concerned with PTFE, and they're not the only ones with PTFE, obviously, there are others. VMC used to have 7117s. Here's an example. Okay, so they used to have these hooks right here that are PTFE coated, the bigger ones. For the smaller ones, they actually have that in the Dokkan range. Okay, so for owner, they call it Magic Fuso. It takes less force for this hook to penetrate than these that are not coated. Okay, so especially when you're fishing for smaller fish where they peck, these hooks work really well. Okay, now one of my favorites, 7117 from VMC. I've been using them for years, and they have been phenomenal. Okay, so again, something that really is good about this hook also is that it holds fish really well. Now you'll see that the hooks are square shaped. They call it tech set. Owner has something similar also, but these hooks, because they're not rounded, what happens is that they're also quite strong and they don't bend out fast. Okay, this is a fast jigging assist hook. It is 6139 from VMC, and these are really good for jigs such as the Storm Gomoku Slim or Super Gomoku. You know, they're called a variety of different names, but I'll show you, like okay, for this one right here, we can have this. Okay, and it sits right in the middle right there. Works really fantastic. Most of the time I only use one hook, but for fast jigs, these work really well. Okay, so like here, this is a Sea Falcon real mackerel. As you can see, fits really well. There's so many hooks, or sorry, jigs that these fit onto perfectly. Okay, now you might have noticed that these actually have flash. This one has UV reactive material. Okay, and if you shine a UV light on this thing, it looks as if it's on fire. Okay, so there, boom. And this works really well when the water isn't clear. So you have single hooks that you could use for both fast and slow jigs. And then you have tandems as well. This is green and pink. There's also another version where the material, the skirt material, is white, and when UV hits it, it turns blue. Okay, now there are also hooks that have wire on them, and this is another one from owner. Okay, this has wire inside here, and obviously pre-made. Works really well, especially when there are toothy critters around. If there are no toothy critters and you're still using this, it's fine. It works as well. Okay. There are also hooks that do not have flash. So these ones are from owner, and these are a little bit heavier duty than, let's say, the 7117s. Okay, so the hooks are actually heavier. Now, again, when you're sizing, okay, you just take the hook, measure it against the middle of the jig, and as you can see here, this hook is too big for this jig. Okay, so I'm gonna look for something, let's say, a bit smaller that would fit it. Okay, and see that right here? What you want is to put it in the middle, and you will have like just a tad showing up like that, and you will find that this hook is actually perfect for the jig. Actually kind of too small. Well, find one here. Okay, this one should be it. Okay, there we go. So this, if you put it on here, you'll find that it just sticks out just a tad bit. Okay, like that. See? Compared to the other one that sticks out like a lot. See? Now, if I put this here, you'll find that even the length is actually okay. So this is actually what I use on this one. Now, another thing to note is that when I light jig, I mostly just use a hook set on top, and I do not, for the most part, I don't put anything on the bottom. Now, if I do, in some cases, I actually rig it with a treble hook, such as this one, but kind of rare, you know. I only mostly use the ones on top here. Okay. Now, what instance would I put a treble on the bottom? When I'm actually lobbing or casting out the jig farther than normal. Okay, normal is when you just drop it down. So there are instances where I toss the jig farther from where I am, especially done when I'm on a kayak. Okay, and normally I would do like a lob, and cast it or lob it out far, and I'm working it towards me diagonally, I would put a treble. But if I'm fishing in a little bit, so that happens in shallower water. But if I'm fishing deeper water, let's say 30 meters or so, I would not put hooks at the back. Okay, I would just use a single set of trebles, single set of assist hooks. Now that is true for both fast and slow jigs. Okay, so here's a fast jig. Okay, and then I would just look for a hook to put on here, single hook for fast jigs, and then double hooks for slow jigs. Okay, now there are jigs such as this one right here from Major Craft, and look, this is free. Okay, and as you can see here, it has hooks. What I do is I take the ones on top off. I don't think that they are well made. I will swap them over. I take the hook. It's not that they're not made nice. They work, okay? But I honestly think that the hooks are okay, but how they tie the assist hooks kind of sloppy, and how they attach it is kind of sloppy. But the rear one is actually okay, okay? Now, for the most part, what I do for the rear is I would see the hook orientation. I would actually flip it around so that it faces up. Okay. Or I could just take it off and then swap it over with a new one. I don't like hooks at the back for shallow water fishing. Okay, so yeah, I find the hooks sloppy, and I just swap them over to something that I believe is more proper. It's not to say that it won't catch fish. It would. However, I just kind of don't find that the hooks are made well. All right, now some things to note. This is a 10-gram jig from Jig Para. I love this lure. Okay, majority of the time, and this is not the Dubai version or the UAE version. The UAE version actually has an upgraded hook set, and the eye is red. This is why I chose this, because this is what you guys have access to. So this was I know that I bought this before the Dubai version was actually made, because we actually went to Japan and talked to them about it. So upgraded hooks, top, bottom, and then the eye for the UAE version. Now, this is nice and everything. It's just that the hooks, they're not strong. So I switched them over to better quality owner hooks. And then what I don't like about this here is the fact that this is tied directly onto a split ring. And that split ring could open, or I've had instances where the split ring didn't open, but the line of the assist cord actually split or went through the split ring, and then I lost the fish. Okay, so swap that to a better one, just so there's peace of mind. Okay, perfectly good jig, and there's nothing wrong with these hooks if you're fishing for smaller fish. Okay, because it is designed for small fish. It's just that we found that it catches more than just small fish. And when you're using it for bigger stuff, it is out of design. Okay, and things will fuck up. So better safe than sorry. If you're not fishing for aji or like big ice cad, don't use them stock. Okay, unless you're fishing for that fish. Now, again, just to recap, if you're making your own hooks, go ahead and look for PTFE coated hooks, because those are better than normal hooks. They require less force and hook the fish really well. And that's very important, especially when you're fishing in shallow water. You don't have to set the hook. When you set the hook, there's always a risk of you oversetting things. And guess what? The fish unbuttons, because greater force makes the hole bigger. When they shake their head, just pops off. Okay, I use majority of the time, whether it be fast jigs or slow jigs, I only use the top hook. Okay, doesn't diminish my rate of catch. In fact, it's much more efficient for me. It's also less dangerous. Flash works. Okay, and if you can find glow in the dark or UV reactive assist hooks, those are really good for when the water is dirty. When the water is clear, you either go naked, no flash, or less flash. Now, midday or just after the like around 10 o'clock or something in the morning. Starting from there all the way to about 4 o'clock in the afternoon, flash works. Okay, so up to you. I find that in shallow water especially, they work really well if you have flash. Now, on really clear days and clear water, I take off the flash entirely and go with a naked hook. Okay, so for hooks, at least that is it. Let's talk about jigs. Now, I'm not going to tell you what to buy. Okay, and what I can tell you is what I use. Now, the reason why I can't tell you what to buy is because this segment has a lot of jigs, okay? And it's very difficult to actually just say like, hey, buy this, and you don't have it in your area, okay? And also, in this segment, a lot of jigs are faked. So, I'm not going to say that the copies will not catch, because it's, these small stuff, what happens is that even if, let's say you have a long jig and then it bends, it's cheap, So it's not, I don't think it's super critical. However, there are jigs that are just better. And it's not because, the brand is better or because it's JDM or whatnot. It's just how the jigs are made. Okay. And it makes sense for the depth that you're fishing. And I think that is the most important thing. Okay. Now, the shallower I go, the wider my jigs. Okay. So like take for example, this is a Sea Falcon real mackerel. I have really tiny versions of this. Okay. So when I'm fishing in shallower water, I use the smaller stuff. Okay. The one rule I have when it comes to fishing with jigs in shallow water is that I use just enough weight for me to get to the bottom. And it doesn't matter if it's a fast jig or a slow jig. I live by that. Okay. So 1 gram per meter might be too much in some areas, because it could be that there's really no current, and even a half, let's say half of the usual that you would be using would be able to reach the bottom. Okay. Now, when you're fishing saltwater, shallow saltwater, especially when you're on a kayak, you tend to actually go into lagoons and stuff like that. And most of these lagoons are sheltered. Not much current. There's a source of water flow somewhere that goes in. There's a lot of these instances. It could be that you're fishing like a mini pond of sorts, and there's no current, or there's very little current. So instead of actually using, let's say, a 10-gram jig, a 5-gram jig would actually reach the bottom. Guess what? Even a 3-gram jig would be able to reach the bottom. And for the most part, I would be using the smallest jig, or the jig that gives me the most hang time. Okay? And sometimes that's not even a jig. So I would always use a lure that would give me the most hang time. There we go. I think that's the most important detail for me. So there would be times when I'm dropping 12 grams in 30 meters of water, because I could reach the bottom with that type of weight, 12 grams. And I've done it. And it produces more than, say, 30 grams. Okay. And that's either with a fast jig or a slow jig. Now, there are jigs such as this. This is, this is so good. Even a Japanese company faked it. Unfortunately, this is an original, but as you can see, the finish sucks. And the imitation was actually finished better. This is a Storm Gomoku slow rocker. up till this day, one of the best producing jigs I have ever used. So if you find the fake one, um, yeah, man, this jig works really, really well. Okay. Now, this comes in different colors and stuff. This is the one I have. So as an example, right there. Okay. Now, this is a bigger jig, 80 grams. So for deeper water, but I have small ones as well. 20 grams is my favorite. 30, 40 works really well. This is Sea Falcon, the Pesce from Sea Falcon. Okay, so the Pesce is a very unique jig in a lot of reasons. Okay, so initially the design of the Pesce was actually a casting jig. Okay, so you could see the form, the profile right there. So initially this was designed as a casting jig, but we found that you could slow jig, fast jig, cast this, and it works. I'm sure there are copies, okay, but this jig is actually really good. Now, where this shines is when you lob it away off of fished off of a boat or a kayak. Okay, but this particular one, what's really good with it is that, or how I use it, my favorite way of using it is I will lob it away from the kayak or the boat and work it on the bottom, and it just produces. Now I fish this with a single hook more than I do with a tandem, and just with a single hook I have caught so many fish on these. It's not even funny. Okay, now for here's a really good one. Okay, this is from Owner. This is 20 grams. 20 grams on the boat is something I don't run out of. 20 and 30 are the weights of the jigs that I use a lot of. Okay, so this is from Owner, and it's a very, very good jig. I forget the name, okay, but you can search it. With those hooks, oh my gosh, these work really well. Again, I put 2 hooks on this. You can put 1. I have used with a single hook, and it catches a lot of fish. By the way, when you're measuring your assist hooks, don't go past half of, actually half is actually already kind of too long, but production hooks, and it's very difficult with the size of the hooks. So about half or so or less is really good. Longer than that and you'll tend to have your assist hooks hit your leader. So just a word of note. Okay, but that 20-gram jig, especially when I'm fishing off of a kayak, really, really something I would say, highly recommended. Now, here's the thing. This has a hang time similar to this. This is 40 grams. This is 20. So take note, with the width and everything, the hang time of the jig is actually very, very important. Because that jig flutters so much, these bigger versions, even if they're 120, they don't reach the bottom. This is 120 gram, okay? This is, I think, the biggest of the size. But the problem with this jig is that it flutters too much and it reaches the bottom sometimes just too late. So it's actually more of a shallow water jig. Even with this 121, more of a shallow water jig than it is a jig for deep water. And the makeup of this jig, this is the other jig I was talking about that is very difficult to find assist hooks for. So to make really good hooks for this, I actually have to go out of my way and create assist hooks for them. But very, very, very effective jig. Okay. Now I have long jigs such as these, and I use them for deeper water. Okay. Another jig that I don't run out of are koikas. And one of my secret weapons is a 15-gram koika when I'm on the kayak. These jigs are very, very effective. The bigger ones, obviously, I always use offshore, but the smaller ones produce so much fish. It's crazy. 30-gram. This is literally one of those that I use. As you can see here, rigged and stuff. Okay. So just like that, it works very well. Obviously, these hooks are not for these for this jig. This actually fits this more. And when you're customizing, you don't have a limit, or you don't have a clear guideline that you need to follow. For this particular one, you know, there's as you can see here, this is actually an offset, and you don't really find what do you call this, production assist hooks that are offset for this size. So perfect for stuff like this, wherein you want to cover. Okay, hold on, just so you know, you see, I'm gonna take this off and put it there, but you get a lot of coverage for the particular jig, and you tend to get a lot of hookups, and the hold is also better. So actually have to be careful here. Okay, this is a 60-gram jig. It's actually branded Williamson, not Storm. So in some countries, they're branded Williamson, and in Asia, they're branded Storm. In the US, they're Williamson. But as you can see there, okay, it has half covered, and it has the top covered as well. And with this, you get a lot of hookups. So if these are production hooks, it would only have either that or that. So there are some instances where it will benefit you greatly. But for the most part, you know, even if you slap on production hooks on this, works really well. Another jig that I have a lot of is this. This is the XS from CB1. Pricey, okay, but the action on these is actually really, really good. I mainly use these smaller stuff for Spangled Emperor, if that's our main target. Deeper water, I would find a lot of use for the Storm Gomoku or Super Gomoku. Only in deeper water. I don't really use this in shallower water. Now for the shallower water I get to, the more flat my jigs are. So you'll find me using jigs such as the Jig Para Micro, at least the similar shape, or I would be using something like a Gomame from Gomoku, okay, because this flutters a lot. So when it's shallower water, the biggest concern for me would be the flutter. And then for deeper water, I could play around. This is the ultra slow jig from Owner. And as you can see, okay, I made hooks for the bottom, and then this is a production hook on top. And it's one of the hooks that are, or one of the jigs that actually rigged with both hooks. Kind of rare considering this is just 40 grams, but because of the length of this particular jig, I just put two. But for the most part, again, just one hook on top. This is a fast jig, and I think this is 60 grams. Again, deep water. The good thing about this, obviously, is that it slides. Okay, so again, even if it's a fast jig, you know, I kind of want the slide. For these, I could go shallower, but for jigs that are like this, I need deeper water to actually get them to work for me. That's just a preference though, because I know that there are smaller versions of these and a lot of people use them in shallower water and it works as well. It's just that, you know, for me, kind of lazy. And I'd rather use jigs that are, here's a 20 gram one. Okay. I've used this in shallower water, even from shore, and it works. But I like it better if I use this vertically, okay, rather than like horizontal and stuff. So I like this in deeper water. And this combined with this jig or this reel gives me a longer working time. And, you know, I think that's where it shines the most. Trevallies, I've caught trevallies, I've caught kingfish, the usual stuff really. Barracuda, a lot of that. Okay, but again, the deeper the water, the better. Okay, now Storm has another one of the jigs. This is like a Gomoko micro jig, and next to the smaller koikas, this actually has like a 10 gram version and it works really well. It's very similar to the koika in the action. I mean, it almost looks like a koika. See? The shape, only this is a bit elongated. So the action is quite similar. Anyway, it works really, really well. Okay? So see, this is about the same weight. This is 40 grams. This is 41. So it's kind of like a koika, but slimmer. Works really well. And I like it a lot, actually. And at one point, you know, it was one of those, because I ran out of koikas, I started using them and it worked really well. Okay. So, slimmer jigs I usually use in deeper water. This is a 70 gram Sea Falcon, and I've used this. I actually caught a lot of fish with this in one of my last trips. And I've caught squid on this. Okay, again, I rigged it with double hooks because it kind of allowed me to, you know, kind of long and all that. For the size, you know, and for the use, it's all right. It's just that it's also expensive. So kind of a downer when it comes to cost, but it's a very easy to use jig. So I'm pretty sure there are a lot of fakes on this one as well. And the smaller one's actually killer, even this big one. Now, a surprise jig that I found that actually works really well is this jig from Abu Garcia. This is a skid jig. Okay, this particular one is designed for the shore fishing, and the shape is kind of different, you know, and it encourages this jig. This is back heavy, so when you cast it out, it doesn't tumble. And then it kind of, you know, has a rocking motion when you give it slack, and then it goes like that. You know, it wobbles. Well, it wobbles, but it goes like this. The swimming motion. It's falling leaf. Okay, there we go. Now, this is a shore jig, but I use this on a boat when I actually want to toss it out or cast it out. And it's been working really well for me. Okay, so skid jig. And how I do it is I cast it out and then I work it back. So there's literally three types of jigs that I use. Okay, one that those ones that I fish vertically, and you need deeper water for that, so about 30 meters and above. Shallower water, when I have to have my presentation at the diagonal angle, there are some jigs such as these that I use. Okay, so that, and then these skid jigs. Okay, so these jigs I cast out and then work diagonally. And then there are jigs that I drop down. So these are jigs such as the koika, and then these super gamokus, slick jig, okay, and then sliders that I need when I'm deeper. Okay, for shallower water, more often than not, you will find me using slow jigs. Okay, but sometimes even in deeper water, when the fish are not cooperating, slow jigs work really well. On top of the list of slow jigs is actually this slow rocker. It works so well. And the good thing about this is that it kind of mimics a crab. For me, that's how I see it. Okay, and I work this near the bottom, and you hardly move this jig. So for small wide ones, okay, you hardly need to move them. You just let them hop. In fact, the more aggressive you work them, the less they become effective. So that's it. Now, for just for a recap, okay, three types of jigs that I have. I have those for my vertical presentation, for diagonal presentation, and for shallower water. And the shallower I get, or the shallower I go to, the more flat the jigs will be, because those jigs give me the most hang time. Whether it be fast jigs such as these fluttering micro jigs or similar shaped jigs from Major Craft, or koika in the slow rocker. Okay, there's also smaller excess versions that you can use, jigs such as these from Major Craft. For shallow water, they're dynamite. And then for deeper water, I use longer jigs that actually give me a slide, so I can work them vertically. And for diagonal presentations, it could be that I'm in deeper water and I'm casting out towards the shallow, or to cover more area, jigs such as these Sea Falcon Peche, Saba are good. These are also good. But for vertical presentations, I use longer jigs that give me a slide. Okay. And also slow jigs when the times are tougher, or when I'm bored, it's just. But to be more efficient, really, I like when I'm dropping straight down. I like it when I'm, jigging faster. So sliders and jigs such as the Gomoku slicks. Be very careful with your selection for your assist hooks. Don't make them too long, because they will snag the leader, and you only find out when you actually bring it up. So here's the thing, right? Sometimes when it wraps and then the fish bites, because the assist hooks actually have, let's say you have something like this that attracts the fish, and it's wrapped around, it's not going to hook them. But sometimes when it wraps on the leader, they bite this, And instead of getting hooked, your leader gets cut. So very important detail that you need to look at. That is it for this video. I think discussed it. This video is longer than I expected because we fused two topics together, but that's fine. Anyway, if you learned something, thumbs up, please like, share, and if you haven't yet, subscribe if you want to learn more. Support the channel by buying the hat and bringing the brand offline, and of course, memberships to help the channel move forward. For all those that have signed up, thank you very much. That's it for this video. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Class dismissed.